All right, so spoiler alert for Succession. We're talking about all of it, obviously. I had a lot of feelings. I had a lot of thoughts about this last season of Succession, and we're dropping 2 episodes on this in quick. Say the word.
Succession.
Thank you. The other one is a Substack exclusive episode for this month. It's a bonus episode, and that one is about the sitcom reset. It's a theory that I built up about sitcoms and drama and episodic structure and emotional structure. Anyway, that one's fun. That one's over on Substack. This one is the normal episode that's going out on Tuesday, which is its own form of bonus episode. We don't always do Tuesdays anymore. And this one is another theory that I've gleaned from my Succession rewatch. We started watching the final season, and I just wanted more, so I went back and watched the rest of season 3 to catch up, and then I wanted more, so I watched season 2, and then I wanted more, so I watched season 1, and watching it completely out of order gave me some sort of unconventional insights into this show. So I've just been bursting with these ideas, and I came up with these 2 little columns.
I love that. I should also say I'm not doing this rewatch. I've been watching the show as it comes out, but so I'm not as in tune to these things as Cam is. But so I'm kind of responding to all the crazy ideas Cam's been having.
You're in tune with me, so you can decipher and clarify.
Yes.
So a bit of introduction here. I'm mainly focusing on season 4, episode 3, which is called Connor's Wedding. This features the, spoiler, shock death of Logan Roy. I mean, shocking narratively, not by any of the facts involved.
Not the fact that it happens, but the fact that it happens at this point.
It's where it happens. So Connor Roy's wedding is completely sidetracked into a stunning, devastating one-act play. I mean, if you look into the way they filmed it like a play.
Yeah, and it's perfect for Connor and his character. Right. Because he's always being sidetracked and overlooked and outstaged. Right. Yeah.
And it's all about the kids hearing the news, trying to find each other and trying to fumbling some sort of last words over the phone, long distance to
on a plane, or he's on a plane.
Right, to their possibly already dead father.
Yes.
And this episode really fucked me up. And I felt this totally new appreciation for the series because this didn't feel like anything we've ever gotten before. It felt unprecedented.
Yeah, just in its drama, right? And it's pathos, right?
Yeah, there was just an intensity to it. There was this real-time gripping misery intensity to it that I haven't really felt in this show before.
Yeah, and the jokes stopped for a long time.
Sure.
Like there have been plenty of moments of drama and sincerity in the show before, like plenty, but not ones that were sustained for that long without Roman making a snide remark or without Greg doing something bumbling,
So I thought this was a totally innovative episode, a totally unprecedented left turn for this series right towards the end. I was completely wrong. And I learned that rewatching the show. This episode, Logan's death, Connor's wedding, is an avalanche of echoes, specifically from the first 2 episodes of the first season. This being sort of the bookend to Logan's life towards the end of the show. Yeah. It's also the first bookend of the show and the way we meet these characters, from the characters' reactions, the predictions they make, the alliances that form. It's freakishly similar.
Wow.
It's incredible to the point of, maybe I'll start with this. Succession is so good because it is so dense. Yeah. It feels like a complete work of art. I mean, even compared to other prestige dramas that make me wake up in the morning, this one is so cohesive and contained. When it is done in a few weeks, it will have been 39 total episodes. If you look at that compared to other pivotal television dramas that have sort of tangents and tertiary arcs, when you rewatch them, like, oh, I don't want to do that for 8 episodes.
Yeah, not this
Get back
side
to the
plot.
thing that matters.
My God. Yeah,
Sopranos has 86 episodes. Breaking Bad has 62. Game of Thrones, House of Cards, and Billions all have 73.
Wow, that's weird.
And I don't know if all of them would have made that list, but I liked that they all had the same number. And I was doing the research, and it was very pleasing. Mad Men has 92 episodes.
Wow.
All of the shows I just mentioned are fantastic, but they also all have tangents.
Sure. Because a lot of, not all of them, but a lot of those are for network TV, and so you have longer seasons, yeah?
About half.
Okay.
And you have these arcs that don't seem to matter.
Yeah.
that in retrospect almost feel like filler. And that's the lens I'm looking at Succession through now, is retrospect, especially as I rewatch it like this. Having 39 episodes compared to 90 or 80 or 70 gives you such focus, especially with the tight control of the consistent writing team. It makes this series incredibly rich and rewarding on a rewatch, which is, it's so rare in TV because TV almost feels like a rough draft. It's almost like the way comics come out, where it's being released in real time as it's being created.
Well, it should be.
But versus something like a novel or maybe a miniseries, the story can be fully drafted, edited, and stitched together so you get one neat story.
Yeah.
If they have callbacks and things that they want to play perfectly in the finale, they can plant them intentionally and perfectly in the first episode.
Of course, yeah.
But if you're working with multiple seasons across sometimes upwards of a decade, then you can't plant things that perfectly.
No.
And some of those tangents and tertiary side arcs, they're sort of unavoidable because maybe you don't know exactly where you're headed yet.
Right. That happens a lot. Yeah.
And that's why Succession feels so special, because it almost has the density and clarity and focus of something like a novel or a miniseries that is fully plotted out, even though we know from interviews and stuff that it certainly wasn't. Succession is a magic trick and a minefield trying to dodge all of these problems. It is a show executed at the highest level. So I want to talk about the 7 echoes between that I've identified that are bedrock precedent for Logan's death and the aftermath of it, just from the first 2 episodes of the first season. Shocking similarities, at least to me, in these first couple episodes.
What are the titles of those first 2 episodes?
I don't know.
One of them is the show with the fuck factory?
I think that's episode 3.
Really? Are you
I don't
sure?
know.
I feel like
It's
it's
2 or
episode
3.
2.
It's 2 or
I'm just
3.
curious. I'm sorry. Anyway.
And, that would have been great information to look up beforehand.
Why didn't you do your job correctly, Cam?
Of course, the big event of those 2 that makes this a clear corollary with Logan's death is where Logan has that like brain hemorrhage on the helicopter. So the first echo is right there in location.
And that's the first episode? Sorry?
At the end of the first episode.
Yes, thank you.
Where Logan drops on the helicopter.
Yeah,
Or it might be in the second. I don't know. You freaked me out, calling me out on the titles.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
in the show.
you have Logan have that major health event where it looks like he's going to die on a helicopter.
I really think it's the first one. Okay, I'm sorry.
Versus season 4, where you have Logan dying on a private plane.
Yes.
So you have similarity in setting there. The second echo, I'm trying to roll these out as I thought of them while I was rewatching the show.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
The second echo is having the huge medical event in season 1 comes right after the kids reject Logan. They refuse to sign over some rights for Marcia to get in on money after Logan dies.
Okay,
Similarly, or maybe in an inverted sense, you have these echoes and reverse echoes. It's a theory we developed back in our Tolkien episodes.
Sure.
Logan's death comes right after he rejects his kids.
Yeah.
At that heartbreaking karaoke scene at the end of the second episode of season 4.
Yeah.
It's the last full family gathering. And it's a rare scene between all of the principal Roy characters where they communicate with each other directly and honestly.
And no one else is there. I mean, oh my gosh, what's her name? The girlfriend. What's her name?
I don't know.
Bangs.
You're fumbling everything.
Bangs.
Here.
What is her name?
Mess.
It's not Carmilla. It's not Camilla. It's not.
I don't know, brother. You're throwing me for a loop.
You know.
The third echo.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I'm saying maybe she's
girlfriend.
there, but like no one is. Carrie. Anyway, no one is there. It's like Greg's not there, Tom's not there, so that's interesting. Okay, sorry.
The third echo, Maggie's not prepared at all.
I'm so sorry.
Maggie's torching the whole episode. You're watching it burn down in real time. The third echo is that in season 1, Shiv calls Kendall to tell him about what happened on the helicopter, versus when Logan dies, Kendall's searching for Shiv through the whole boat when he's trying to find her. That's one of those reverse echoes.
Yeah.
It's an inverted sort of bookend.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing here is not just that they switch the characters' places, it's that they make it clear enough where it is still these 2 characters, almost like it rings a faint bell in your head, like, oh, I've seen these 2 inform each other of an almost death before. But right as they're ringing that bell, they stretch that moment out. They make Kendall hunt for her through this entire ship.
Yeah.
It becomes this like incomplete echo, an unanswered harmony, which stretches out what you think is going to be this clean death scene for Logan into a full episode of purgatory.
Yeah.
And that's where they start really playing with you. And they drop more of these echoes that really hurt. It's the callbacks that are devastating. So the fourth echo is, and this is back to the pilot episode, that ends with the shell-shocked reactions from the kids and a news montage of what just happened.
Oh, yeah.
Where you zoom out, you see, I mean, pilots are always weird. You see shots like you never see in the rest of the series. Like Sex and the City, you have her breaking the fourth wall.
Oh, so weird.
But in this one, you zoom out to the shot of New York, and you hear all of these different audio news cues cutting in, talking about this news about Logan Roy. So going from shell-shocked reactions of the kids and then hearing the news reaction, you kind of blend those together and evolve those callbacks. In Logan's death, you end that episode with shell-shocked reactions of the kids. But then that's not the end of the episode. You follow those shell-shocked kids as they break the news to the press.
Yes,
so you combine the two elements that directly followed Logan's last health emergency.
Yeah.
You combine them here to sort of show that growth and evolution of character.
Very cool.
The fifth echo is that the beginning of the second episode, where they're rushing to the hospital to see what's happening with Logan.
Yeah,
That is the purgatory that comes as a surprise in the middle of Connor's wedding. Where you don't know if Logan's dead yet.
Yeah, there's a huge debate about it.
But that purgatory that I thought was the new left turn for the series that we'd never seen before, it's the whole second episode of the series. It's that Logan death that hangs over these two episodes. That whole second episode is the kids in the hospital reacting to Logan's possible death, feet from his body.
Yeah.
And basically Logan's death episode is shot in one location where it's just the kids trapped in this room. The only time you cut away is to the shot of Tom holding the phone up to Logan's body.
Yeah.
So you connect those two images because they're the only things you're seeing.
Yeah.
Almost like when you go back to season 2 and the camera can only show the kids in the hospital and Logan's body like 10 feet away.
Yeah.
It's the similar setting, but just sort of remixed and flipped a little bit.
Wow, cool.
And the reactions the kids have to Logan's death in season 4 are identical to the reactions that they work out in the second episode of the series. When they're thrown into this purgatory about their father possibly dying, they have the same reactions. Shiv falls apart. Roman denies the whole thing.
Yep.
Connor goes completely numb. Kendall is despondent, but rallies as he starts to scheme.
Yeah.
I couldn't, because I just couldn't believe that we had this dress rehearsal.
Yeah,
like 30 some odd episodes beforehand. And it was long enough ago that I don't think most people are catching these echoes.
Yeah.
But again, that's why the show's so special, because on a rewatch, it's going to be freaky and haunting.
Wow.
Because you're going to have those scenes that you saw the first time in your head as you work through these 39 episodes.
Yeah.
It's incredibly tightly written.
That's really cool.
The sixth echo, and this sort of cements that flirtation that I just alluded to in Kendall, where he goes despondent and then rallies as he starts to scheme. The sixth echo is how Kendall starts to sort of evolve into Logan, or a pseudo-Logan. This is the current arc that's playing out in season 4 in real time.
Right.
If we go back to that final confrontation that the family has before Logan croaks, at that karaoke scene, Logan ends that episode and basically ends his relationship with his kids by saying, I love you, but you're not serious people. Similarly, his heir and shadow throughout the first season is Kendall. And in that second episode, or in the first season, it might be a couple episodes later.
Yeah.
When Kendall is supposed to be the heir apparent and he's doing his best, his fullest Logan imperson. I mean, he's cosplaying his father for most of season 1. Kendall is arguing with Roman in the first few episodes, discussing who would take over if Roman dies. And Kendall says...
If Logan dies?
Yes. And Kendall says, I love you, man, but you're not a serious person. So the
good.
thing that is the final nail in the coffin for Logan's relationship with his kids is a Kendall quote from season 1.
Something he already did.
So you're tying together that Logan-Kendall thing in this totally backwards incestuous thing where it's not just the son becomes like the father after the father's dead.
Right.
It's the father becoming like the son.
Yeah.
Which almost makes their connection that much stronger. That maybe they have been like this the whole time.
Yeah.
Even when they're at war with each other.
Right.
It makes that like heir apparent argument even stronger.
Right. And then of course the piece of paper that they find with Kendall's name, is it underlined, is it crossed out?
Right. It makes their connection tighter. Even if it's less clear.
Right.
It becomes so much tighter.
There's a connection. Yeah.
And this sort of takes us into the seventh and final echo I wanted to talk about, into the season-long arcs.
Yeah.
And the overall echoes between season 1 and season 4, what we've seen of it. We've only seen the first half so far. Kendall proposes this alliance with Roman and Shiv when they're scheming next to the hospital bed of their father in early season 1. He makes this reference to, quote, the power of 3. And that alliance falls apart immediately. And then, see if this sounds familiar to season 4, Kendall and Roman try to run things together, and everyone at the company becomes a pseudo threat or new father figure.
Yeah.
All of the whole arc of season 4, this feels like a spoiler alert for future episodes.
Yeah.
That's what this season's turning into. We're seeing them slip into this dynamic already and fraying at the seams. You're seeing Kendall and Roman come apart. You've already seen a schism between them and Siobhan. There's a suggestion here, I think, and I don't want to make predictions because I just said the show is too good to do that. But there's a suggestion here, looking at the similar arc of season 1 and 4, that there is this coming implosion.
Yeah.
That we're seeing the split of self-interest that will drive these self-interested people apart. That there is more family devastation on the way.
Yeah. Do you know something else I've thought of as you were talking? I believe it's in episode 2 in the first season when Logan's in the hospital that Tom proposes to Shiv.
Yes, it is.
Like in the hallway in the hospital. And here, it's not the episode that Logan dies, but at the wake, you know, obviously Tom and Shiv are in the middle of a divorce, so there's that, or they're at least separated. There's an assumption that there will be a divorce, but right now they're just separated. They have that conversation on the stairs, talking, where it's like that really intimate, vulnerable conversation where Tom is really trying to open up and maybe try to comfort Shiv in a way, if not comfort himself. And of course she reacts terribly. The way that she reacts terribly to his proposal. She's awful to him when he proposes.
But, and you see, because at that point, you know he's sort of a shithead in the way all of these characters are.
Of course, yeah.
But in episode 2, basically he's just kind of toyed with Greg a bit, but you don't think he's all evil yet.
No, not yet.
In the episode where Logan dies, Tom is the most sympathetic and kind character.
He is.
Where he's kind of this outsider, but he's incredibly kind to the kids over the phone.
I was going to say, he's the one who calls them. Like, obviously he calls Shiv first and she doesn't answer. And then he calls Kendall and then they have all of that.
He's patient and understanding and kind there. That's another great echo.
Yeah.
Well, the 8 echoes.
Yeah.
Between it really is, I'm confident on numbering. It's the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think
it's the first 2 episodes and then episode 3 of season 4. Everything about Logan's death and the aftermath and the feelings and the alliances and the betrayals and the arcs, it's all in the first 2 episodes of the series.
That's really, I would like to go watch just those 2 episodes now that you've talked about all this.
I totally recommend
it's
that.
really vague in my head. I haven't watched season 1 in years.
It's really rewarding.
I really love that. This show is so smart.
And this most recent episode where you saw Kendall pull up to Waystar in the car with the music
I recognize
in
that,
the suit.
With the headphones. Yeah,
that's the first shot of the show.
Yeah,
so
I recognize that immediately.
I love that they're doing this bookend thing where they're remixing and calling back and twisting the knife of all of these season 1 echoes.
But what's great is like it's not just they're doing the same thing again because that's cool. Like it all has meaning. And I think a big effect that it has, or a big reason for this happening, is family dynamics. I mean, anytime you hang out with your family, like with your siblings and parents, you revert back to your old habits. Like anytime my sisters and I step into my parents' home, we're all teenagers again. Like every time. Like you immediately go back to those dynamics. And this family being around each other all the time and like in varying combinations, right? With different levels of betrayal going on. But anytime they're together, the dynamics shift and they go back to different
But they're not
things.
going back to anything because they've never gotten out of this one toxic dynamic.
Yeah, and there's never been one consistent dynamic. But like the echoes make total sense for a show about a family, especially like a family who are all adults now. So really, really interesting.
Well, thank you. Thank you for humoring me.
That's really fun. I love that.
If you want to hear us talk excitedly about this for another 20 minutes, we just dropped another Succession rewatch sort of communal column talking about this sitcom reset theory that I developed about the episodic structure and the weirdness and sort of framing the structure of the episodes by the emotions of the characters. Anyway, that's over on Substack. If you want to go hear that, it's live right now. We have bonus episodes every month, and this one is the one for April. I'm so excited to see the rest of this show. We're Second Breakfast Pod everywhere. We'll have a full new episode on Friday, but I just have to talk about this show. We had to do these.
As of recording, 5 episodes have come out.
Yes.
Obviously, the 6th one's coming out in a few days. And
Wasn't it good?
It will be out by the time this episode's dropped, but we haven't seen it yet.
Hopefully, I'm not proven completely wrong.
Wouldn't that be so funny? Like Logan's not dead, and actually it was all a dream.
You know what? Honestly,
What?
It looks like, and this sounds stupid now because you've already watched the episode probably, but it looked like that was going to be the funeral. I think episode 6 looks like it's going to be the funeral.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
Because the last one was the one with Mattson in Sweden or wherever they're
Norway,
wherever.
And Connor was trying to figure out
the B plot is Connor setting up the stuff for the funeral.
That's right. I'd forgotten.
So
about
I
that.
imagine we're going to get more of this stuff.
But it could be like a curveball, like how they did with the board meeting in episode 4.
True.
About like it's not actually about the board meeting; it's about right before the board meeting.
And you could argue that there's less precedent for a funeral for Logan because not only did he never die in the first season, but he never ever relinquished control. So there was nothing even like that for him.
You know what? His birthday party at the beginning of this season felt like a funeral.
That's a really good point.
His kids weren't there. He was really, really sad. Like he hated it. The funeral. I mean, that birthday party was really interesting.
And another perfect echo back to Kendall's miserable funeral birthday party last season.
Oh my gosh!
Episode 7, Too Much Birthday.
That episode is devastating.
Yeah.
It is so sad.
They're the same character.
Oh my gosh, it's so sad. Wow. Okay.
All right,
well,
cool.
let us know what you think about this show, this season, Cam's theories, our thoughts. We'd love to hear it. We have, it's all in the description. You can do it. You're an adult.
Yep.
All right.
And we'll see you back here on Friday.
I hope you're an adult. If you're a child, you shouldn't be listening to this or watching Succession.
No, certainly not.
Please go talk to your parents. All right.
Go talk to your parents.
Ask your parents if you can go online to disneychannel.com.
Ask your parents to buy you a Substack subscription. All right, bye.
Okay, bye.